Welcome to a world of thrills, a world of drama, of capes and tights, a world where death is a revolving door. Welcome to the Geek Matrix. Yes, welcome to the Geek Matrix, everybody. Ladies, gentlemen, germs, ligaments,
And
children
Josh.
of all ages, and Josh. It was a little blurry today. Have you been eating sandwiches?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, focus. There we go.
Focus.
Hello. How's it
Quite
going?
the acronym.
Okay. Let's see if I can figure that out.
It involves really bad spelling, but
Focus.
I grew up hearing focus was fuck off because you're stupid.
Wow. I was going in a completely different direction, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Pure Michigan.
Speaking of acronyms that start with fuck, obviously you know the one FUBAR, fucked up beyond any recognition.
Of course.
Yeah, everybody knows FUBAR. But did you know there is a pry bar that's also called a FUBAR? I learned that working at a hardware store, and every time I see it and change the signage or the price label, I giggle to myself. It's like this pry bar is FUBAR. It will make any project FUBAR.
FUBAR.
Yeah. This
Needs
bar.
FUBAR.
You get a FUBAR. I don't know why it's called a FUBAR, other than it might just fuck things up beyond any recognition.
That's it.
Yeah. And I love it. Anyway, welcome to the Geek Matrix, DC Comics Review Show number 197.
Yes.
Yes.
Legacy week 4,545. I don't care what DC says. Thank you.
Josh is the oldest, therefore he keeps the legacy number.
For I am the legacy host.
Oh, I like that title, legacy host.
Nice.
That's awesome. I like that. All right, we are here to talk comics and all sorts of other stuff, including, and not exclusively, today we are talking about Birds of Prey number 9, Shazam number 11, Poison Ivy number 22. I was thinking of the Power of Shazam when I said that. I'm like, am I saying is that really the title Shazam? And then I was like, yeah. And Batman number 147, as well as some honorable mentions. All of our books will be in the main show this week, as we do not have many to talk about. So our bonus show is going to be a little bit of a talk soup. It's going to be just a chat show.
Or do you wanna try and stream us playing some WWE?
You know, I was thinking the same thing earlier, and I was going to bring it up to you, and I completely forgot.
Well, look at that. For once, I'm the one remembering something.
Think alike. Yeah. Fancy that. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I know you have problems with your memory, but I'll be honest, like for most of my life, my memory's been shit too. Like I've adopted the strategy where if I need to do something and I remember it, I have to do it right then. Otherwise, I know in 2 seconds I'm gonna forget about it. And people wonder, like, why do you have to do this right now? Why can't we just do it later? Because if I don't do it now, it's not gonna happen.
Yep. It's like legacy host. That is pretty cool. I'm never going to remember it, but it's pretty cool.
I might remember it next week. We'll have to see.
Well,
like if I'm at work and I need to buy something and I remember it at 8:00 in the morning when I'm done at 2:30, I'm putting it in my cart and I'm carrying it with me the whole day. Like a rake. I had it with me literally my entire shift on Monday because I remembered at 6:30 in the morning. And halfway through the day, my boss was like, "Why do you have a rake? Are you putting it back?" Like, no.
Haven't you ever seen Children of the Corn?
Oh, hang on. Pokemon giveaways. We need to pray to RN Jesus and hope we get whatever this is.
So Valley?
Oh, gimme.
I have no idea what it is. I don't know what any of this is.
Legendary. Alpha Ivysaur. Hell yeah. I mean, okay, so Valley's not really a legendary maybe closer to a pseudo legendary.
Pseudo legendary.
Yeah, it's a pseudo legendary. It's
too?
not. It's.
I didn't get it.
Nah, me neither. A pseudo legendary is lower down on the dex number list per region. So like Dragonite in the original 150, okay, right? Its number is right before Mewtwo, and it's really hard to obtain as a Pokemon. Dratini, which is its first evolution, its base form, really hard to find in the original game. There's really only one spot you can get it. Even in the second ones, in Johto, the second generation games, there's really only one place you can find a Dratini. It is very hard to find, really rare find rate. So because of that and its high strength level, once it's fully evolved, it's on par with a legendary technically in terms of rarity and power. So we call them pseudo legendaries, where they're not really legendaries because you can get multiples. They're just so hard to find. It's almost like you're looking for a legendary. Because the reason the legendaries are called legendaries is because there's only one. You only get one, and that's it.
You only get one legendary or one of that Pokemon?
One of each legendary.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like in the original games, Red and Blue, there was one Mewtwo, one Articuno, one Zapdos, one Moltres. That was it. And they had an overworld sprite. That was it. So they are considered legendaries. But Dratini and its evolution line, Dragonair and Dragonite, are insanely hard to find. And Dragonite you can't even catch in the wild at all, if I remember right. Only Dratini, Dragonair, so they're considered pseudo-legendaries. Yeah. So Silvally, I never finished the generation it was from. I never finished the games, but if I remember right and I understand correctly, it is kind of blurring the lines between pseudo-legendary and legendary, where you could get more than one, but you're given it as a legendary status. It's complicated. It's really complicated. Very. You can breed it, if I'm not mistaken. I could be very wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the later it gets, the more complicated it gets. The point is, now you know what a pseudo legendary is, and for anybody watching at home, listen to this comic book podcast, you now know what a legendary Pokemon is. Because that's what you're here for. It's what you listen to this comics podcast for. It's Pokemon and wrestling.
Indeed.
Qu'est-ce que c'est ça? What did you do?
Mean, who else wouldn't? I mean, what other reason would you have for
thank you.
A comics podcast if not to talk about wrestling and Pokemon?
Exactly. Why not?
we probably should get into some comic books, though. The honorable mentions that since we're gonna talk about all of the books right now, I suppose I'll go ahead and get those out of the way. First and foremost, we've got Kneel Before Zod number 5. I don't like the art, and I can't tell if I've just disliked the first 4 issues so much that I can't enjoy the rest. I've read them all. At this point, if I haven't gotten into it, I just don't think that I'm going to. For me personally, it's a 3 out of 10, but it might not be for you. So check it out. Maybe for you, it's a 7. I do know that you're into this title. That's good.
Yeah. I'll say this about Kneel Before Zod. I'm enjoying it. I like Zod as a character. And after his appearance in Howlin' Pals and that story arc there, which I absolutely loved, this whole concept of him having his own planet, thought it was fantastic. And there's been some big changes in his personal life and his status in the universe throughout this series. However, throughout each issue, I get to the end of the issue, I'm like, wait, that's it? Like, I feel like each issue is so short. And then I think back of what's happened in the grand scheme of things. And like, a lot has happened, but it also doesn't feel like enough for 5 issues. Like, it's really weird. Like each issue, the story feels so short in comparison to any other story for 5 issues so far, but a lot has happened.
A lot happens, and it's all raced through.
Yeah,
and it's like every issue. And it's even if you read it slowly, it feels that way.
At the same time, when I'm looking back, like, as much as a lot happened, at the same time, it doesn't feel like a lot happened. And if you think back to each issue, so issue 1 was Lord Zod discovering there was a secret on the planet.
Right.
And then Zod feels betrayed and whatnot, and Lord Zod was doing some behind-the-scenes shit, so he sends him away. Issue 2, they get attacked. Issue 3, they go to war. Ursa dies. And Zod ends up being captured. And issue 5 is him on a ship, captured and breaking free. Like, not much really happened, but at the same time, a lot happened. It's really weird.
It's like, you know what? I think the easiest way to describe it is like it's a super dense 80s action flick.
I can see that, yeah. I dig that.
Like, it's all superficial, but it gets into a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, that's enough about this honorable mention. We're not going into yeah. What else do we got?
Well, next up, I've got Suicide Squad Kill. I should have did this one first. Suicide Squad Kill Arkham Asylum #4. This is nuts. It really is. But it is a good, fun story with good art, and I've been enjoying every issue. It's just a standalone, good Suicide Squad book. And I gave it an 8 out of 10. It is a really good time.
Right on. And
then last up, I honestly, Rob, I would suggest you read that title.
Suicide Squad?
Yeah, Kills Arkham Asylum, because I feel like it is just the kind of Suicide Squad book that you would enjoy.
Fair enough. I'll give it a shot.
Then last up, we have Black Label, The Boy Wonder #1. Damian learns to be learn what it means to be a Robin, right? I think that's what the tagline was.
I believe so.
It's definitely set in an alternate universe, because when Babs and Dick show up in a fight, they talk about paying for formula and paying the babysitter. Yeah. I'm unsure how many issues this is, but this one gave a backstory of his life, kind of a quick update, like a recap before watching the TV show. So not bad. It also touched a lot on his relationship and his thoughts about Dick. And next issue,
sexuality is for him only. Okay, whatever he wants to do is his choice.
That's not
wants to talk
what
about
we're going at.
Talk about Dick.
But the end of the issue lets us know that we're going to be getting into Red Hood. So I'm starting to wonder if maybe every issue is going to focus on him with another one of the Robins.
I mean, that seems to make sense, considering the tagline. He learns what it means to be a Robin. He's learning it from everybody that was Robin before him.
Yeah. All while he's going on this own personal mission, and all of it's going on during the case. So it's not all like his relationships with the different Robins. It's a good story, though I don't see yet why it's Black Label. The art reminded
me alternate universe.
Maybe, I guess, but I mean, at this point, we should be calling that Elseworlds.
Well, that's coming.
Yeah. The art reminds me of Wayne Family Adventures, if I'm being honest, but drawn super fast. It was very childish, the art was. But
Junie Ba's not normally like that.
But yeah, and for some reason it set the mood of the book. It kind of paralleled It kind of paralleled the thoughts of a normal kid inside the mind of a kid that was raised like Damien, if that makes sense. But I feel like it was done really well. I gave it an 8.75 out of 10. I really enjoyed this very first issue.
Right on. It does look good. Junie Ba, I don't think, has done anything I don't like so far.
The name doesn't sound familiar for me, but I'm assuming that's because they are from Marvel.
Honestly, I believe they have, but I don't remember. Let me double check. I just know I recognize the name and I like it.
Fair enough. All right, so I suppose right now is a good time for us to take a brief commercial break, and we will be right back.
Right on.
And we're back. While Rob finishes looking up that information, I'm going to tackle the first summary, the summary of our first book.
Wait. Before we go into that, before we go into the summaries, we got to talk about Free Comic Book Day because Free Comics came out.
Oh, damn it. Yeah.
Since our podcast last week.
I think I just blacked it out.
No worries. I can handle that because DC only had one book. Well, they had 4, but they had one book that wasn't YA or otherwise.
Right.
Tied to Absolute Power, and it was a very short story, maybe 10 pages, taking place at some point in the near future. It's not really disclosed, but you could tell based on the way the story's progressed, and obviously based on Batman this week, it's definitely in the future. So it opens up with Amanda Waller after all the revelations we got so far with the Council of Light. Is now housing villains in the prison that Failsafe is running, which if I remember right, I think it's Arkham Asylum, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Might be Blackgate. I don't remember.
I think it's Blackgate, actually.
Yeah, he took over one prison, and Amanda Waller is now getting her Suicide Squad people from that prison. The whole thing is kind of from the perspective of, I don't remember his name, an electric villain with electricity powers, finds Failsafe and Amanda Waller working together, which I thought was very odd because Failsafe is still essentially Batman, and Batman hates villains and doesn't want to work with. And Failsafe is just all about justice. If you're a bad guy, you're a bad guy. No exceptions. Why the fuck is he working with Waller? Legal or not? didn't make sense to me. But yeah, so Amanda Waller is getting Suicide Squad members from this prison, but also trying to run experiments using this machine that is supposed to sap the powers of an individual that it is being attacked by. And this electric-based villain, whose, I'll be honest, name escapes me, is asked in this sealed chamber to unleash all his power on this machine. And while nothing is happening at first, eventually he starts to feel drained and weaker to the point that it doesn't just take his power, it dishes it back at him, and he's electrified and fried to a crisp and dead. So that test is now deemed a failure, and they're back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board.
That's basically the end of the issue, but we also got to tease that there's something that is being built in secret. Nobody knows what it is, except Amanda Waller and Oliver Queen, who we see in a uniform befitting whatever team or organization it is that Amanda Waller is now running. So he is full on that team now, very reluctantly, of course, but he is there nonetheless. So there's that to kind of tease you for Absolute Power coming up in July. We'll see what happens. Other issues that came out, Marvel had Spider-Man / Ultimate Universe primer, if you will, with kind of stories set within that. The Ultimate Universe story within, which is one I will talk about, is about the Ultimates and them kind of building their team and finding new members. And this time they find Jim Hammond, the original Human Torch, thanks to Captain America.
Ta-da.
So now he is on the team. And then we get a tease with the cover for Ultimates #1 coming out eventually, with teasing more members to the team. So we'll see what's going to happen.
We will.
And finally, we've been talking about it all the live long year. And I really wish Brandon was here to talk about this, but he's busy studying for his finals, which he is soon graduating. Good luck, Brandon. Congratulations,
Good luck,
buddy.
Brandon.
You got this. Yeah, we got the Energon Universe special, if you will, #1, which also special edition is on sale this week. So if you miss it during Free Comic Book Day, you can get it for $3.99 at your LCS with like 10 different covers. And there's one cover in particular that I kind of want, but I already got a free copy, so I ain't buying it.
Fiscal decisions done right.
You get 3 stories in that, one about Transformers, one about Void Rivals, and one about G.I. Joe. All 3 stories tease a lot of stuff for the future, and all are quite interesting, especially if you're following the Energon universe. Transformers has to do a lot with Megatron and how he ended up where he is, which ties heavily into G.I. Joe. Void Rivals ties into Transformers somewhat, and the G.I. Joe story is very much just a G.I. Joe story, and it's about Duke building his team with teases for the future. It's a lot of fun. I fucking love the Energon universe. So that was 3 choice books that I picked up. There's a few others that were out on the table this year, including Flash Gordon #0, written by our friend Jeremy Adams, which I have started that issue. I've not been able to finish it, but it looks really fucking good.
I did not get a chance to get to Free Comic Book Day. I'm upset, and I won't talk about it any further. I really wanted to read that Flash Gordon, man.
Oh. Because they're free comics, you can still find them. That's all I'm going to say. I already have.
Right on.
Yeah, because I wasn't able to get Flash Gordon because the store I went to was only allowing 2 copies per person. 2 books.
2 per person. Books. Oh wow, that's quite the limit. That is quite the limit.
I was surprised because my old store, which closed down last year, like you could have 5 or 6 books per person. That was it. And I thought even that was like, well, what if I want them all? It was 1 of each. No, just 6. Okay, that 2. It was tough.
That old LCS that I go to, it's 1 issue or 1 copy of every issue. That's the way it should be.
That's the way it should be, yeah. It's free comics.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I get, like, the stores want to make sure everybody gets a chance. But then I went to another store on Sunday, and they still had stacks. Not of every book, but they had stacks of certain books. Granted, it was all books I already had or didn't want. Which wasn't great.
You take what you can get, right?
Exactly. All right, so... Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it's time to get into the birds.
Ow. Bit my lip. Yeah.
Don't do that. It's Birds of Prey #9, written by Kelly Thompson, art from Jonathan Case and Gavin Goodry, with colors from Jordi Belair, lettering from Clayton Cowles, and Belair giving colors to Leonardo Romero's art on the cover. After going through that mysterious portal at the end of the last issue, the team picked themselves up out of the pile that they landed in on the floor. The whole team's there: Barda, Cass, Sin, Vixen, and Black Canary. But Barbara and Meridian are missing. Strangely, everybody has been turned back into their other clothes, or actually Barda has some sort of odd costume on. But then they take off to go find their friends. We jump over to Meridian, who is also laying on the floor, but in a very different place. She wakes up on the other side of the portal. She did not make it through. She collects herself and she heads for help in the form of Zealot, which surprised me but makes me happy. Meanwhile, the team quickly finds Barbara, who apparently fell down a hole. She's almost out as the team gets attacked by shadow people, but they make quick work of them. At Barbara's suggestion, they start heading for the clock tower. Keep in mind that they're in some kind of weird pocket dimension or something, so things aren't how they are supposed to be. Cass notices that too, and that Babs is not actually Babs. Black Canary hits her with the scream, but it doesn't do too much. The rest of the team had their weapons stripped of them as they entered the portal, so there's not a lot of help there. It's unclear to us and the birds if that is really Barbara and she's possessed or something, or if it's completely fake Barbara. Given the lack of choices, though, after Babs turns into a giant bat thing, they hightail it out through an exit, hoping that they aren't leaving Babs behind. So not only do they not know what that dimension was, or if that was actually Barbara, or if they will ever be able to find a way back there, they also don't know what Babs was talking about as she alluded to the weird dimension that they were in, and everything in it was created by Barbara herself. So that has me very, very, very interested. The art is freaking great. Now, you know what? Hold on, I'm going back to that for a second. How dark this dimension was, it has me very curious because I just don't see that with Babs. It doesn't feel wrong, at least not yet. So I'm very curious. Back to the art, it is freaking great. I love the style of this book. It's different than the first arc, but it works all kinds of well with the story. And the story, man, it's far more exciting of a story than I can ever remember reading in a Birds book. Not saying that there aren't great story in Birds books. There are, definitely. But this is exciting, like watching a really good action movie as opposed to how I described that earlier. I am definitely on the hell yeah train for this one. Birds of Prey, I gave a 9 out of 10 to.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. It was a thrill ride of an issue. Very interesting stuff. Very fun, while also still, like you said, very dark. I got the sense that they're in Barbara's mind somehow. But I got that sense because of another book that I had read before it that we will talk about next. Because something similar also happens there. Somebody gets retreated into their own mind for a second. So that, and also considering the stuff that happened in The Outsiders with being in a dimension of Batman's, and it was technically in his mind as well. Like, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with Bat Family, and can't blame them because they're fucking weird. It's just Fair how enough. It is sometimes. So yeah, like that's what I think anyway. We'll see what happens. But the adventure here was fantastic. It had Agreed. Some twists and turns. It had some comedy. That's the thing. Every issue of Birds of Prey so far, I can't even believe we're on issue 9. It feels I know. It feels like it's going by so quick. But it's got a bit of everything. It's got some levity. It's got some emotion. It's got some action. It's got some drama. It's got some tense moments. It's just fucking fantastic.
It really is.
It has everything you could want in a comic book, plus badass women kicking ass. Especially like I'm just gonna say right now, my favorite moment of the week is in this issue because I want to bring it up right now, and that's when Dinah is asking if anybody has any weapons they could use, anything to throw at them. Barda just picks up Cass and throws her.
just special launches her ass through the air.
That'll work. Yes. That was perfect. Art was fantastic throughout. I gotta say, the art's been hitting it out of park for me. It's kind of interesting because it is almost like feels muted at times, but it's not detracting. It's almost
right,
like elevating it in a way. So I really, really like what they're doing here. I'm giving this. You gave it an 8.75, right? So
I gave it a 9.
You gave it a 9. Yeah, I'm giving it an 8.75 out of 10.
Right on. You mentioned that book that you read beforehand, and I know what book it is. Do you want to go ahead and just talk about it now?
I think I shall do just that. It is Shazam, number 11.
Shazam.
Speaking with all the southern accent you can muster. Oh, that's
from Mayberry.
I imagine you could
the Andy
muster
Griffith Show.
A lot more southern accent than that.
Me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. A little bit.
being a Detroit boy and all that.
Yes. Flint, sucker. But yes.
Close enough. It's the same state. I nearly said province. I grew up with provinces, okay? And let's face it, we lived like 6 hours away from each other. We grew up 6 hours away from each other.
If that.
It's 6 hours to Detroit. How far is Flint from Detroit anyway?
Half hour.
Okay, so yeah, like 6-7 hour drive. So I'm like 6 hours from the border at Windsor and Detroit. At least we were before you moved. Deep South.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Not a fan of Little Nicky? Why, how dare you?
not a fan of the Deep South.
I'm from the South. The Deep South. Yeah, I fucking love that movie. Do it, Ozzy. Bite his freaking head off. Anyway, this is Shazam.
Anyway.
Moving Day Part 2. This is written by Josie Campbell with art from Emanuela Lupacchino, colors from Trish Mulvihill, letters from Troy Pateri, and a beautiful cover, as you see right there on the screen, by Dan Mora. So we open with a little flashback.
I did not know that was Dan Mora, and that shocks the hell out of me.
It does look a little different.
A little different. That is way different from what I'm used to seeing out of Dan Mora.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't scream him to me, but
it doesn't scream him, but knowing that it's Dan Mora and looking at it, you can see some of the subtle tinges that scream Dan Mora.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But on first glance, I would not have been able to tell this is Dan Mora at first.
Nope, not even close.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the coloring.
I was thinking that too. Might be the colors. But anyway. He supposedly did the whole page himself, so I don't know. Maybe he's trying something different. Anyway, we start with a flashback to Billy's childhood before he was adopted by the Vasquezes. And he's still with his mom, who was a total, just horrible person to him. After school, everybody was picked up, and he was left behind for hours until he asked the school to call her. And when she picks him up, unknown amount of hours later, she screams at him for asking his teacher to call them. So now her boyfriend is just very pissed off and not okay at home. And she people gonna think I can't raise you and blah, blah, blah. And basically she's pardon the term, she's a bitch. I don't care.
She's a mega bitch.
Yeah. She sucks. I wouldn't even call her a Karen. She's worse than a Karen. She can't take care of a kid. Fuck her.
She sucks.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from there, Billy then kind of opens his eyes a little more and is in some kind of forest-like cave with a weird sound emanating, and he's trying to figure out what's happening until he hears a bang, bang knock on his bedroom door as he wakes up, realizes he's having a dream. And that knocking on the door was Mary, his older sister, corralling all the kids to the kitchen to go over the day's plans, because this is the day that CPS does the house check and interviews all the kids to make sure that the house is good. So Mary has tasked everybody with their own missions. Pedro is preventing weird stuff duty. Billy is on hide, he's a superhero duty. Freddy has don't put foot in mouth duty. And Eugene has make everyone look good duty, which they will all do very well in those duties except Freddy, because I think that's impossible for him. to not put his foot in his mouth.
It very well could be.
Both figuratively and quite possibly literally.
Agreed.
Yeah. The only one missing is Darla, as she, after the events of last issue at the end, where she saw the captain burning a letter for Billy, decides to investigate and figure out what the differences are, what's going on with Billy and the captain being different people. So her and Hoppy, which we find out now, I don't think I realized before personally, that only Mary and Billy can understand Hoppy speaking.
I did not know that either.
Yeah, I didn't know that, period.
If it was evident, I guess I just did not realize it.
Yeah, especially since Darla's been talking to Hoppy this whole time.
Yeah.
She's literally just talking to a rabbit. She has no clue that Hoppy is speaking. She just hears rabbit noises. So yeah,
that's fucking hilarious. I don't get it.
Right? Especially with the chat bubbles, the word bubbles that Hoppy has, and like Darla's just like, yeah, I can't understand you, so I'm just gonna assume you agree with me. I'm happy you're here. And Hoppy just goes, you keep the big cat away, and I'll do anything you want.
Completely petrified of Tawny.
Tawny. Yeah, Tawny.
Tawny. Yes.
Tawny the tiger. He's great. Yeah. He's magic. That's better. That's a better thing. Yeah. Anyway, so Hoppy and Darla enter Billy's bedroom. Just as Mary finds her and takes her back downstairs. As the CPS agent has arrived, and a jogger is running by with his dog, but then we see the dog and the owner, jogger, getting attacked by what seems to be a bat-like creature. But that's off in the distance because the Vasquezes meet the CPS worker out front, to which she says, if you two could wait outside while I conduct my interviews, that would be great. And Mary goes to intercept and introduces herself, where the CPS worker already knows who she is and says, you will need to remain outside as well. Since you were over 18, you are no longer my concern, and you were considered an adult. So, if you want to live here, you can just live here. You don't got to go through any kind of adoption or anything. Vasquez's can adopt you still, but I don't need to like take you away or anything. So that's, yeah, Mary's duty is now stay out of the way duty, which again is going to be very hard. But have no fear, trouble is afoot. So inside, the CPS agent is talking with all the children and begins the interview, starting with Billy. But as she's starting to begin the interviews, the bat-like, wolf-like creatures are outside thumping on the windows. So now the kids are trying to hide the fact that magic is around the house and pulling her in all sorts of places. Eugene especially is trying to pull her towards all his awards and into the hallway away from any windows and try to make sure that she doesn't see anything happening, as Billy gets to run outside and ask Mary what's going on. And there's bat wolf-like creatures all over the place, dozens of them in the sky. Mary tells Billy to get back inside, but Billy insists that he's not leaving her alone in this fight. So the pair scream out Shazam, and with a kaboom, the CPS worker is even more concerned as to what's happening outside. So the kids are working extra hard inside to keep her away from windows and make sure that she doesn't suspect a thing. But now she's looking for Billy, so Freddy, who is at a window, sees Billy as the captain outside fighting a bat creature. Screams very loudly, Billy needs to be here right now. We hear another kaboom, and Billy comes running in, saying he was just in the bathroom. So they go to another room that has no windows. He opens the door, and sitting on a bed is Taki Tani. And his perfect excuse is Taki Tani just sits there holding a book, staring at the doorway, not moving, says, I forgot about the mannequin, the non-moving tiger mannequin.
Definitely make sure that you understand this tiger mannequin does not move.
And definitely is not Taki.
No.
Yeah, so they go to another room. Mary, meanwhile, outside is dealing with the bat creatures and is almost done, but then more arrive, and this one starts to talk. and reveals that they are Jeepers, hence Jeepers Creepers, and they are also human. They were born from humans and were driven out. They once were living creatures, but were driven away, except the Jeepers DNA was mixed with humans and gave birth to hybrids.
Hybrid babies. They all went Manchurian candidate. They had to wait for the Rock of Eternity's magic to break out, and then they all, I guess, activated.
Yeah,
that's kind of the way that I
basically what it is. If you're familiar with the Inhumans and their history, it's the same idea that
there you go.
The Inhuman DNA was spread out across the planet, gets activated with Terrigen mists. Same idea, except in this instance, instead of each one gaining an ability or a mutation, all of them turn into fucking bat-like creatures. Not great, but
it's just way too much man bat going on in the world for my taste right now.
Yeah, not gonna lie. Yeah, Darla inside, meanwhile, is using this opportunity, since she's not being interviewed, to do some snooping in Billy's room, and eventually finds a box under the bed, thanks to Hoppy, and in that box is a bunch of letters. And at the exact same time, the CPS agent who has been interviewing Billy and asking some questions, some general questions, takes a moment, pulls a pink envelope out of her purse, and asks if he recognizes this. And as that happens, Billy says his head is starting to hurt. He runs into the bathroom with his head pounding and sees the captain looking back at him in the bathroom mirror. So they have a conversation. Billy's asking about the letters, and the captain insists it's going to be okay, that he's protecting him. They are different now because of the magic of Shazam is changing, and the powers he has is different from the powers Billy had. But Billy can trust him. He knows what he's doing, and he's doing what's best. He just needs to stop fighting against him. And at that time, Billy whispers the word Shazam, and then the captain appears outside to help once more with the creepers, the Jeepers. Yeah.
Where'd you get those peepers?
Uses the power of the Rock of Eternity, and because of that, the magic that was turning all the humans into Jeepers gets reverted, and they turn back into humans falling out of the sky. So the captain and Mary Marvel rescue all the people who are now unconscious and reverted back to normal. And then Billy wakes up again in front of the mirror, not realizing anything that happened, lost all that time, had no clue about even saying Shazam, and was just continuing his sentence like he was still talking to the captain. So some weird stuff's going on. He heads back into the kitchen, where now the entire family is with the CPS worker. And he finds out that he's been in the bathroom for an hour, according to Freddy.
That's a long time.
Yep. And with that, the CPS worker does say thank you and is very satisfied with all her findings, and that they all love each other very much, and the house is safe. And even though that the children are thriving in this normal home, she must put the adoption on hold because a family member is contesting the adoption of one of the children here, and that the adoption can only go through if she terminates parental rights. And as she opens the door at a knock, in walks Billy's mom, who was the one sending all the letters. Done. Motherfucking done. So now we see that the captain is not up to any nefarious shit. The captain and Billy are officially split. As to how that's happening and what the degree is, we don't really know. Mentally, they are very much split. They are two entirely different people. Billy is not just like a superpowered person. It's two people living in the same body. And, well, I mean, technically, it's two different bodies still. Same spirit. I don't know. Magic's complicated, but you know what I mean. And it looks like the captain is looking out for Billy. Very much like Incredible Hulk situation.
Yeah, even if it's not the way Billy wants. Like, same with Bruce.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, Billy is being protected by the captain, which honestly,
whether you like it or not.
Yeah. For me, it's a relief. I'm really happy to see that this book, while having some dark undertones every so once in a while, is still almost happy-go-lucky. It's still kind of feel good, and it still exudes a family sense. And I appreciate
we're getting a lot of those teases where it's like, Captain's gonna go dark.
Yeah,
Captain's gonna turn into a bad guy, and they keep fucking getting me.
Yeah. But here we are. It's issue 11. He's not doing it.
Yes.
Which I'm more than okay with. I'm very happy about that. Billy's mom was a bit of a twist, and honestly kind of interesting, I would say, considering we had Billy's dad during Jeff Johns' run, and I know a lot of people aren't too thrilled about that. I think, Josh, you were one of them. Yeah. I didn't hate it, but it happened, so I'm going to acknowledge it. And now we have Billy's mom, and in both books, both of these parents wanted to be part of Billy's life and wanted to have an opportunity. Meanwhile, obviously Billy's dad, I think, was under the control of Mr. Mind and wasn't really all there, but similar ideas. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen. How is Billy going to get out of this one? Is he gonna have to convince his mom he doesn't want her around anymore? Like that's a hard conversation to have. Let's face it, the Vasquez home is a much safer home than the Batson home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
and when it comes to self-survival, I'm going to say that's not a hard conversation to have.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, the conversation's not hard. It's the convincing that's going to be hard. Because if he wants to stay there, he needs to convince his mom to stop trying. And it sounds like she doesn't want to stop trying. Yeah, with that in mind, art, I'm really enjoying the art throughout this issue and throughout the book so far. 8.75 out of 10.
I also gave it an 8.75 out of 10. Issue's kind of nuts. I knew reading it and going in through it that there was going to be a hiccup for the adoption, but I didn't think it was going to be that. And the whole Shazam versus monsters thing. What an interesting way to pop monsters into a main Shazam story without them coming from somewhere like Monsterland. I dig it. And I'm confused about the letters and why they're being burned and why Darla is able to find some of them. But I guess we'll soon find out what that's all about. So far, it's a pretty damn good story. Yeah. Lou Pacino and Mulvihill make this issue look fantastic. It's the perfect art style. Matter of fact, this is what I want my Shazam comics to look like. It's just really good. I wanted a Shazam that felt like Shazam without leaning into the corny, and that's exactly what this is. So 8.75 out of 10.
Right on. I agree.
Indeed. That was a damn good comic. And if I'm not lying, that one has me itching to talk about the next one.
I think so too.
Poison Ivy number 22, written by G. Willow Wilson, art by Hanin, colors from Arif Prianto, lettering by Hassan Atzmani El How, and a cover once again from Jessica Fong. And just wow, that cover is horrifying, but in the absolute most beautiful way possible. I could not stop staring at it for a minute. So the issue, the Floronic Man is giving some smack talk to Ivy, who is doing her best to keep Croc, Grundy, and Janet from HR safe. When Floronic turns up the aggression, the Lamia zombies show up, and there are loads of them. She yells for everybody to get inside the shack, and they do, though they are quickly in trouble. While Grundy tries to keep them all from breaching the window, Croc reassures Janet that she's going to be okay. And that's when Janet says that she believes him because the heroes don't make her feel safe anymore. It's just the monsters.
Can I just say I love that after all these issues, her name is still Jennifer Matriarch. That's
Fucking
how she's referred. Right. And I love that.
I love it so much. I am right there with you. 100%. It also has me curious. We have that comment from her about feeling safer with the monsters than with the heroes. And we've got Poison Ivy, who is decidedly embracing a bit of her monster side. Yeah. We've got Croc and Grundy working alongside her. Yeah. I can't help but wonder if we're going to get some new form of Gotham City monsters.
Ooh.
But meanwhile, all of that stuff is happening. Outside, Ivy has tapped into her inner Greenie and gone full-on battle mode, complete with a wicked-looking alien invader-type helmet. She looks super cool. Woodrue continues to talk smack, and she gives it right back now. They go back and forth with barbs and beating the hell out of one another until their argument over who can control the Lamia leads to a shocking decision. Because the Lamia exists to destroy, even though it's wild and uncontrollable, telling those that are infected to destroy is going to get them to listen. So Ivy, as their mom, commands them to kill the Floronic Man and her too. And that's exactly what they start to do. Woodrue cannot stop them. He is not strong enough. And Ivy lays back as the infected swarm her. And she lays there thinking to herself, my life is the price that I have to pay to remove Woodrue from the face of the earth. So be it. And then right before the issue closes, she says aloud, we are the Green. That's the issue. It says you again in the title. Is the title of the next issue. I started off talking about how awesome the cover was, and let me start off my thoughts with how awesome the interior art is as well. It really, truly is. It's Heining and Prianto are just working it right here. As for the story, I have no clue what the hell is going on or where this is leading. All I know is that this is easily, and I mean easily, one of the best series that DC Comics has put out in years, and I mean years. It's absolutely phenomenal. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10.
And that is rare from you, but I wholeheartedly agree. It is just damn near perfect. It definitely is one of the best books DC has put out in years, if not the best. Because I'm struggling to think of anything that really compares to the staying power of this series so far, considering this was supposed to be a 6-issue mini.
and there's been no slumps in it whatsoever. Not a single issue. Not. 2 years later, almost 2 years, a year and 10 months. And this holy crap. Just wow.
Issue 22, when it's not showing any signs of slowing down.
Nope.
Where the hell did G. Willow Wilson find all this story?
I don't know, but I know I don't want it to stop. Not anytime soon.
I agree.
I can't wait to see what she's got in store for the rest of it, man.
I just hope that she has a lot more in store.
Well, you know what? If she doesn't, she needs to find some, even if she has to hire a detective.
Agreed. And I know that was a transition, but I'm still going to give a score.
I thought you did.
Not yet.
Damn it. I do that all the time.
9.25 out of 10.
9.25 out of 10.
Yeah. Solid fucking issue. Art's fantastic.
I did.
You already said everything that could possibly need to be said about this book. Anything I was gonna say is I'm not really adding anything. I just I echo everything you already said. So
it's good, man.
All right.
It's just really, really super good.
And shit, I didn't really look at the cover before. Holy fuck.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's horrifying, but in the most beautiful way. Just wow. I've seen her draw. Now we've seen her draw the prettiest of romantic pictures. We've seen her draw scantily sensual pictures. We've seen her draw horror like this. And I mean, I'm at the point where I think there may be nothing that Jessica Fong can't do.
Yeah, I think
as a cover artist, she just impresses the living crap out of me.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. I agree.
It makes me wonder what it would look like if she were to take on an interior for a book, like even if it was just a 3 years. Let's go 6 to see what it would look like. But would the art come across the same, or would we get something different? I'm really dying to know.
Oh, for if she did an interior?
Yeah. Because you got to imagine, I mean, that's a totally different pace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely. It could take a long while. She'd have to be like really in advance. Yeah, so I will now follow your transition from a few minutes ago. It'll take a detective. It's Batman number 146, right?
7.
Sorry, I'm on the credits page.
147.
Yeah, so this is Batman 147 Dark Prisons Part 3, written by Chip Zdarsky with art from Jorge Jimenez, colors from Toba Mori, and letters from Clayton Cowles, with the cover from Jimenez and Mori. And we open up with Failsafe and Robin having a little chat, as Failsafe has revealed he has now upgraded his own internal communication system and is accessing every electronic device in Gotham, listening for any crime. And there is so much crime, as he says.
So much crime.
So much crime.
You know what so much crime is? Soda.
I was just thinking that myself. Damian, however, is still a bit happy-go-lucky, being happy that he's with his father, being Batman and Robin, saying we don't need anyone else, but Failsafe insists that he wishes that were the case, but it never ends. He's very Batman right now. We then jump to the inauguration of Vandal Savage as the police commissioner of Gotham. As he is about to be assassinated by somebody who screams, "You killed my friends!
You killed my father!"
A gun is shot at him.
Prepare to die.
It's not Inigo Montoya yet. Then Failsafe jumps in the way and stops the bullet, which, as we all know, would have done nothing to Vandal Savage.
Which one is that from? Bride or Diaries?
Bride.
Which one are you obsessed with?
Bride.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Diaries is something completely different. Yes. Yeah, and quite honestly, thinking now, if he was shot wherever, like had a kill shot on him at his inauguration as police commissioner of Gotham City, knowing he's immortal, that would just strengthen the resolve to make him the police commissioner, because everybody would see that this commissioner who's now running our police, he can't fucking die.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I don't know. Perfect. I don't think that he would reveal his immortality, but I think that it would come across as like how strong he is, that he was able to withstand that. And it still wouldn't go great. That said, whoever was trying to assassinate him does not know shit about Vandal Savage.
Yeah, because they still tried to shoot him in the face with a gun. It wasn't going to happen. Regardless of whether or not it's Batman City, as we just discussed, Vandal would not die. So, dumb move, buddy. If only you knew. Spare parts.
So dumb.
So dumb. So Failsafe took the bullet, and because he's a robot, did nothing to him. And then apprehends the criminal, and then turns his attention to Vandal Savage, and announces that this position of his means nothing. There's nothing to him. Very Anakin Skywalker, and everybody will eventually. Everyone will see who you really are. And then turns to Americano and says, "We'll be talking soon." So that was a little ominous. Then over in the nation of Gamora, Miss Waller, Amanda Waller, and some lackey, she's hired as a higher up in her fucking organization, was watching the entire events unfold with Failsafe. And while the question is posed if that really is Batman, Amanda says, if he is, I know where to find him, and it's time to pay a proper visit. Meanwhile, the real Bruce Wayne is still on the run and is headed to Happy Harbor, Rhode Island, at the old Justice League mountain base. Is that what it was called?
I don't.
The Justice League base in Happy Harbor, Rhode Island, carved into the side of a mountain.
It starts with a J, and I can't remember what the hell it's called. Is it? No. It's like a Swedish word or something like that. Norwegian.
Jorgenstein. No, that's no. That's
Jorgenheim.
Jotunheim. Home of the trolls.
It's not Jotunheim. But regardless, it's something along those lines. I do remember that. But
Challenger Mountain. No, wait. That's not it.
That's not it.
It's close. It's a mountain. Anyway, point is, we all know what it is. It's where Justice League International hung out.
Yes,
back in the day. I guess JLA in the 70s, maybe.
Yeah. Hold on. Damn it.
Well, besides the point, we all know that they had a mountain base in Happy Harbor, Rhode Island, and this is where Batman's headed, because he needs to pick up some supplies.
The Secret Sanctuary.
Secret Sanctuary. Oh, okay.
Oh no, yeah. The Secret Sanctuary inside of Mount Justice. You were right. What the hell was I thinking of?
Okay, this is Mount Justice. Makes sense. I dig it. All right, so while Bruce is there, he reminisces on some old times when he was there early on in the Justice League's lifetime. He was trying to make better smoke bombs for increased coverage. As Barry walks in as the Flash and says he can help. He's a chemist, so he reveals his own yellow phosphorus, which is non-toxic and holds a better smoke for him. And this shows Bruce some trust and how he can have friends to help him. But then we jump back to the present and you just see Bruce sitting in the chair alone, kind of disheveled by this. Now, if he was to involve any of his friends now, it would not end well for anybody. Failsafe, meanwhile, is now having a meeting with Daniel Captio, as Captio is revealing that Bruce has escaped, and Failsafe just doesn't care. That he's, as far as he's concerned, Bruce is a broken old man that really can't do anything. So as long as he doesn't pop up his head, there's no need to really bother with him. But Captio is goading Failsafe into maybe going after Bruce because he just wants to see this fight happen. As he's a man of the mind and likes to study it, he wants to see the mind of the same person fight each other, which I get. That's an interesting little connotation. Anyway, meanwhile, at the Wayne Mansion, or the once Wayne Mansion, some strike teams are infiltrating. As Amanda Waller knows that Batman once operated out of that. As far as strike teams are under the impression that this is now Vandal Savage's home, they think Vandal Savage is Batman. But instead of Vandal Savage, they find Robin, who just takes the fight to all of them and knocks them all out. And as that's happening, Failsafe crashes through the window of Amanda Waller's office, where they're watching the fight take place over in Gamora, and then they have their discussion there. Amanda Waller clears the room, so it's just the two of them. And basically you get the tease of what we saw in the Free Comic Book Day special over the weekend. That they are talking and they have similar ideas of what should happen. So we'll see what happens next. However, we do know what happens next. So Failsafe takes off without doing anything to Amanda except to give her a warning. And then we see Bruce has now gone to his next destination, which is an old family cabin, which his dad built with his own hands. And they spent lots of family summers there, along with Alfred. And reminisces about his own time when he had Tim as a ward when Tim was a young boy. And he was training him to be Robin there with some archery lessons. And Tim was very hard on himself, even comparing himself to Dick, which we all knew about. But as Bruce reveals, you can't be hard on yourself. Dick was born into this life. He was a circus kid, and what matters is you're putting in the work. You have the resolve, and that gives Bruce the resolve to know that as long as he's putting in this work, he can accomplish what he needs to accomplish. Failsafe, meanwhile, is doing a few more searches throughout Gotham as Robin shows up. And then he reveals his own plan that if he's going to do what he needs to do, he can't do things alone. So he is building an army, and he reveals to Robin a room where there are various Amazo robots, each one fashioned after various members of the Justice League, and he plans to put different versions of the multiversal Zuran-Rs that are in his head into each of these Amazo bodies. But Robin, while Failsafe did not say Zuran-R, Robin is questioning the whole concept of Amazos and minds living in his body. But if that was going to happen, it would take a lot of mind power. And then he puts together that it is Zuran-R, and then he begins to try and fight Failsafe, but Failsafe obviously is way too strong and realizes since he can't trust or control a Robin, he'll just have to make his own. And he reveals that he's cloned his own Damian Wayne, but as Zuran-R Robin, which that blew my fucking mind.
I was trying to come up with a name for it, and the best I could come up with was Damon R.
Zuran Robin. I don't know. Zuran-Arbin. I don't know. There's something there.
Zuran-Arbin sounds like a real name of somebody from, like, I don't know, Holland.
Zuran-Arbin. From Holland. I want to meet that guy. I don't know why.
Me too. I don't Makes know a why. Fantastic ambrosia salad.
Meanwhile, at the cabin, the old Wayne cabin, Bruce is working on what he needs to work on, but then hears some twigs outside that he set around the house as kind of an early warning system. Excuse me, one just snapped. He's not taking any chances, so he heads outside through the window and very stealthy figures out it's not Failsafe, because if it was Failsafe, he would just go straight to him. But then gets ambushed by Tim, who says, sounds like you need a partner. And as always, Tim is there for Bruce. Robin is there for Batman. Bring some food, and together, Batman and Robin are going to fix things. So now the two late at night are talking after doing some work together and having a meal. And Bruce does reveal that he's had his self-doubts, and what those were really Zuran-R hurting him, doubting him. So now that Zuran-R is gone, he has more control over his own mind and a stronger resolve. And with Tim in his life right now and by his side, he believes that they can do great things together, and he does trust everybody there. And with that fear gone, now he needs to get his family back together. And with that reveals his new bat suit, which is very armor-like and really cool, and almost like fail-safes in a way, but it's a cool bat suit. But now he's going to need his family, and it's time to get together and put that monster down. That's the end of the issue. Should I go into the backup? Or should we talk about this first?
You know, honestly, I feel like the backups in the Batman have just fit so well into the first story. It's not really necessary to break them up.
Fair enough. All right, well, we'll jump right into it. So this is Show the World, written by Chip Zdarsky with art from Miguel Mendoza, colors from Aaron Angiolini, and letters from Clayton Cowles. This is heavily about the Riddler, who is in the prison run by Daniel Captio, and he is asked to meet Warden Captio.
So, whoops, I thought I had that muted. My bad.
No worries.
Sorry, listeners.
You all right?
Yeah.
Good. All right. So he is asked to meet Daniel Captio out in the courtyard, who is getting some fighting tape on. And out comes a whole bunch of other inmates, including Victor Zsasz. And this has now become a sparring moment for Captio. To which Nigma says, like, I'm not much for fisticuffs. I'm not here to fight. And he says, I don't want to fight you. I just want to talk to you. And they have a whole big discussion about the mind and how the Nigma has been held back over the years by himself and by his fear of Batman and all sorts of other reasons. But that Nigma, being a genius, he could be worth so much more. And at one point, Nigma calls the other people that are there idiots, to which one guy gets in his face and is about ready to just beat the shit out of him. But then Captio gets towards them and just pushes back on Nigma and says, look, Batman was holding you back, but your ego is what's holding you back even more. At any point, you can move on and just do something revolutionary. And with those words of encouragement, Nigma just decides to beat shit up and kills the inmate right there by choking the life out of him. And with that, Nigma then goes with Captio and says, we are here. I'm here to help Batman through conventional means and unconventional. Do you want to change your mind and reveal some kind of machine with a series of booths that are going to do something to a brain? I guess we'll find out next issue because it's to be continued. So even more layers to this grand story. Something's going to happen to a whole number of Batman villains, and I'm excited to see it. With Chip Zdarsky on the page, it's going to be fucking interesting, I think.
It's going to be insane is what it's going to be.
Oh, God, is it ever. So we have that. Not much to the backup. It's just a big discussion with the Riddler and then that reveal of some big machine going to do something to people. So we'll be more on that next month. The main story, though, a lot of twists and reveals in this issue.
A lot.
Yeah. Namely, so we do get more teases for Absolute Power and what's going to be happening there. Through all the press releases and pre-art and the Free Comic Day issue, we did get to see some of the working relationship between Failsafe and Amanda Waller in the near future, as well as we saw the Amazo robots with the version modeled after various members of the Justice League. Now we know that those are going to be versions of Zur-En-Arrh. I'm curious if there's going to be specific ones going to specific bodies, if that even makes a difference. I'm just curious which one's going to go to which body in general. I think it could be very interesting if there's going to be any differences between them. And the biggest one for me, which I'm kind of super fucking hyped about, Robin Zur-En-Arrh.
Agreed.
Damian has his own Zur-En-Arrh, but not even like a mental thing, just like a whole other fucking body. It's wild. I'm curious when Damian is gonna find out his father is alive and well and just run back to him, because he never wanted to leave his dad's side the entire time that Chip Zdarsky was writing this. He wanted to be with his dad. Very understandable. He just thought his dad had turned into a robot, which was kind of crazy, but the stranger things have happened. How many times have they faced the multiverse? Like, it wasn't that long ago his dad was quote unquote dead in another world. So
very true.
Twice. Last year alone, he did it. So him being a robot, not that far fetched. I don't blame Damien here. But you can tell we're getting to a head here, especially knowing Absolute Power is coming up. There's going to be some shit happening. Knowing that Failsafe is in Absolute Power, we know that the story is going to last at least the run of the summer. So if Batman has time to get his family together and make it through Absolute Power, but I ultimately want to see the Bat family, like every member, get together, work together, and with Bruce as a fucking family, and just take this fucker down. Because that's the one thing Zur-En-Arrh doesn't understand is the power of family. And I will say, you might be thinking, but Rob, he just built himself a son. Yeah, but that's only one. And we don't even know if this guy works.
I mean, it simply comes down to numbers.
Yeah. And like
figure it out. Fucking figure it out.
Figure it out, yeah. Like we saw that through the flashbacks that Bruce had with all the places he went. He has family, he has friends, he has allies. Zur-En-Arrh doesn't really have that. He has soldiers. That's what he has, right? So it's not just going to be the Bat family. He's going to have his friends there too. The Justice League are going to help him out too, and it's going to be brutal, but it's going to be such a fucking cool read. I can't wait. So
it is going to be a cool read.
Yeah, for this issue, I'm giving an 8.75. Fuck it, it's a 9 out of 10.
Fair enough. Kicking my review off, Jimenez and Mori are absolute kings in this book. Nearly every page looks like it could be a poster. If I had to sum up this issue in 2 words, though, it would be, well, whoa. The shit has completely hit the fan, and Failsafe and Waller didn't see eye to eye during their meeting, which I didn't expect. He also seemed to have an aversion to stripping the heroes of their powers. He even calls the Justice League members his friends. Batman isn't just a great action series right now. It's also a great mystery series too. I'm loving every second of it, and I'm already hungry for next month. Actually, in my notes, I fixed it myself here just now, but I wrote next week. That's how hungry I am for it. 2 points here. 1, Failsafe makes his own Robin. Okay, that's cool. The idea is awesome. He's created it. Obviously, he created the Zur-En-Arrh to put inside of Robin. Now, what's up with him having a human face and hair? It looks cool, though. Second point, Batman's new suit looks pretty fucking cool too. Give me more while I give this a 9 out of 10. It's good shit. It's real good shit.
Are you Snagglepuss?
No, that would have been a really horrible Snagglepuss. I'm supposed to be working on my impressions, and I keep forgetting.
It's really good shit, maybe.
Event.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the close, and that's what we always do when we take our close. We take a top 3, we share them with you, and our favorite moment as well. I will go first.
Go for it.
Because I'm already talking. Top 3 in 3rd place, I'm going to give to Birds of Prey. Number 2 and 2nd is Batman. And 1st place goes to Poison Ivy. It continues to be the epitome of comic book perfection. I got 2 favorite moments. One is just because it's pretty fun. The other one because it really hit home, but it's a little bit longer than a moment. Not hit home, but made me happy anyway. In Poison Ivy, Killer Croc, when Woodrue starts his villain monologue, Croc says, "I thought this guy was dead." Grundy just says, "Solomon Grundy," to which Croc replies, "Good point."
Yeah.
I thought that was funny as hell.
Yeah.
But I think my real favorite part was Tim showing up and Batman showing everyone why he is the absolute best Robin. Just saying.
You said Dick Grayson wrong.
No, I said Tim.
Yeah, but you said best Tim. Robin.
Yeah, I said Tim. Tim showed up in Batman and showed everybody why he's the absolute best Robin.
Yeah, and you said Dick Grayson wrong. Fuck you, best Robin.
That wasn't Dick Grayson that came up there and pulled Batman out of the hole that he was in.
But you said best Robin.
Yeah, which is Tim Drake.
No.
Yeah, because not only he had to work for it, and he became better than all of them, except for the fighting.
Yeah.
But those are the favorite moments. Those are the best moments, and those are the absolute true moments that I have shared with you, comic listeners across the entire world. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Floyd, out in Finland. I am ready for your top 3, Rob.
Well, for you, Josh, and Floyd from Finland, and all the other listeners out there, my top 3 is the exact same. I ain't even gonna beat around the bush. Yeah, Shazam is a very close number 4, but no, I have the exact same top 3 in that order. Birds of Prey, Batman, Poison Ivy at number 1. Favorite moments, I did kind of say earlier that in Birds of Prey, Barda just throwing Cass as a weapon, which was perfect. Very fastball special. But I do also have a second, and that would be Billy walking into the room and finding Takitani and just brushing it off as a mannequin, educational mannequin. Yeah, that was fantastic.
That was pretty damn good.
Yeah,
pretty damn good. Good moments all abound. I had really super close third places too, both with Shazam as well as The Boy Wonder, which again I strongly suggest people go out and pick that up. Check it out. It is good. And you don't hear me strongly recommend something with an art style that I typically would not be a fan of, but it works, and it will work for y'all. With that said, thank you everybody for watching. We will be back next week covering all of DC's weekly releases. Same geek time, same geek channel. Oh, wait, no, I won't be. You guys get a vacation from the Josh. But Rob and Brandon will have us taken care of. And that is the show. We're getting out of here, so you will have to as well. And be careful out there. Remember, in the Geek Matrix, everybody has a home. In the Geek Matrix, you are not alone.
Peace.